storm here. I'm sorry for the loud noise you're hearing. That is the car. It is the morning. Good morning, everybody. Well, good morning. Fucking bottle. Somebody had a bottle in here and it burst open. Of course it did. Anyhow. Yeah, I'll keep it on. I want to keep it on so the Alright. Don't tell me what to do, car. Stop! I'm gonna keep my butt warm. You know, I'll fucking turn it off. Why not? Because I gotta get going anyhow. Welcome to Morning Coffees with James. I'm James, and this show you're watching on Instagram, BitChute, YouTube is my morning coffee show. And yes, I've been trying to get on BitChute, but everybody's been, well, Styx Hexen has always been shouting about, like, oh, we need to get on BitChute. We need to get on BitChute. BitChute needs to get its fucking shit together because I can easily download a video from my phone to YouTube easily and Instagram, but BitChute seems to be the problem. So, come on now. And plus, I don't have the time to do a fucking video. That's a lie, because I'm at the gym early and I'm trying to get shit done here. So, anyhow, so yeah, you might see this video on YouTube and BitChute. I might actually make a BitChute video. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm really getting tired of YouTube's algorithm. Which I talked about in another video like 2 days ago. So today I'm gonna be talking about I want to be talking about why I left film school. So the first one was like to get into it, to learn the study of film and stuff like that, and why I wanted to, why I wanted to be in film was to just kind of be an influence to change the way the course. Like, granted, most people do start out like that, but change the course of history. Change the course of history. No, this is more in the lines of like why I'm doing it is because I believe, because I already said, I believe film has a very significant power. Media does. But why I left it. Now, you may be thinking, why did you leave film school, James? Well, it's because film school kind of failed me. And I know, like, there's people out there, it's like, well, you didn't study hard, or you didn't put the effort and time into it. You didn't care enough. You didn't do this enough. I did. But, it's a little hard when you have to ride the train, when you're poor on money, when there's no real food to eat, when you have to eat crap all the time, It's a little hard to study something you love that, and I put in the sacrifice and the dedication, but it didn't pay off, in a sense. So, and that's not the big excuse there. It was a lot of factors that went into it. I was, at the time, depressed. I was, I don't want to say I was in a bad relationship either, because it wasn't a bad relation. It wasn't even a relationship. It was just a falling out. Let me put it that way. It was a bad falling out, and I fell into this kind of like mindset a little bit that I'm not proud of things that I've done. So, but I did it my way. But anyhow, I'm not, and not to be joking around. It really was a bad time because I was going to Temple, and I honestly, I keep talking about this, and I keep explaining to this. The best two film schools I went to were in Vermont Landmark College, which is an alternative school for people with learning differences, and Monco. Hands-on, very more enthusiastic about learning about film and learning about storytelling and crafting stories and stuff like that, media and stuff like that. Those schools were fine. It was when I got to fucking Temple that was the problem. Because Temple, it seems like they treat everybody who's like not... I went there and I dedicated my time to go to Temple. I did the papers. I did everything like that. So one of the things I noticed with that, and one of the things I noticed the difference was the motivation, was like the enthusiasm. Like, I had some good film teachers, some kind of weird, some kind of awkward, some kind of grateful, and I'm grateful for them. Neil Goldstein, thank you. You're an awesome dude. I've been a prick to that guy, so yeah. And he was friends with John Ritter, so John Ritter, if you don't know who he was on a show called Three's Company and another movie called Problem Child, Real Men. Really good guy. He was on that show, 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughters. Really cool guy. Looked like some kind of hooded figure. Got him to the dark side. All right. So anyway, John Ritter. So yeah, he knew John Ritter. Then I went to basically I learned a lot about script writing from him, and I learned a lot from script writing from him, and kind of built my confidence up in storytelling. I'll tell you that much. But and also just had to deal with a lot of cringy shit too, just realizing some shit. So anyhow. So the thing I kind of do love about Monko was it really was about being hands-on, and one of the things I absolutely did like about it excuse me, sorry, it's that fish oil. One of the things I did like about it was the hands-on approach. Like both schools, I mean with Landmark they just said, here's a camera, go shoot a film, go make a documentary and a music video, have fun. Like, you have this time limit, this is your assignment. And I'm like, I liked it. I made 2 good projects. I was more proud of my music video than my documentary, because I basically made a unofficial sequel to the other one, somebody else's documentary, and they kind of called me out on that. And I was like, all right, fine, I did, yeah. But Temple was a little bit more like will breaking, if that makes any sense. Like, okay, so I went to Temple, and their film program really doesn't cater to artists or creativity. It seemed like they were still making people into critics, and honestly, I was like watching movies over and over again, but I was watching movies that I was just bored of watching. I was like, I became less of a fan of film after watching so many goddamn movies. Like, I watched, let's see, what movies did I watch? And there was a lot. The Hollywood of the Meshes is a one I really get annoyed with, because it's a good avant-garde film, which we saw a lot of avant-garde films. And some of them were funny, some of them were very creative, and I have to say they were very influential. But others I was kind of like annoyed seeing repeatedly. One of them was Hollywood of the Meshes of the Hollywood Afternoon, Meshes of the Hollywood Afternoon, I think it was called. I forget the fucking name of it, but I remember the droning like soundtrack of like noise, like ding dong ding dong ding ding, and just hearing like it was. I feel like the director was just trolling the audience and seeing how far he could push people, and it was psychological torture to begin with. But watching these movies over and over again, but also watching things I was not used to, like foreign films and stuff like that. That was like very like that, not the like totally trash Temple, which I'll get into in just a moment. Another great teacher I had was Dan Fesenberg, I think it was. Great teacher, very enthusiastic, and he was my teacher on film perspective, comedy, and horror. And I've learned a lot from all those perspectives, and kind of understanding like the feel of horror, the feel of drama, like comedy. Comedy and horror kind of fall into the same category a little bit if you watch certain films and see what you find funny and what you don't find funny at all. So, but there was another couple of classes that I absolutely did not like, and one of them was the intensive writing course, which I'll get into in just a moment. Which was, because it's kind of making me, I'm in the red now, I'm the bad guy now. No, this one class was kind of irritating, and it was an intensive writing course, but it wasn't like the catalyst to start it. It was kind of just like my mindset, my enthusiasm died out. It was slowly dying out because I was getting on the train, classes were running late, trying to wake up early, trying to do assignments, papers, trying to get all these things done, and it just felt like I felt overwhelmed, and I just was like thinking to myself, I didn't go to film school to write papers, to write essays, to write novels, to write these essays that nobody's ever going to read or ever put in a goddamn journal ever again. And that was the point. That was like one of the issues I had. There was just classes I was taking that just didn't seem like they were involved. I was taking well, this is a university, and I'm just like, fuck you. It's like higher learning. What higher like, I never thought about like, college people being very pompous. Like, they probably have some grounding. I think everybody has like a certain level of grounding where it's like, okay, this, a rock is, cigar is just a cigar. But then you get into these like areas where they're like, they lose focus and like their higher learning, and they get their head way up into the clouds. And I'm not talking into the clouds. I'm talking about in space, in the atmosphere, in the fucking satellite area. And that's when I kind of just like, was like, okay, am I really gonna have to do this? Because I saw some other people drop out, and I was thinking to myself, if I stick with this, I'll be good. And other classes, I was just kind of like bored. I was like, what's going on here? Like, I want to learn about editing, and I was like learning small bits and pieces, but it was like not the way I wanted to learn. I'm more of a guy who learns through, doing, and failing, trying this, and then if this doesn't work, okay, what did I do here wrong? Okay, trial and error. I'm more of that kind of guy. I'm more of a guy who's trying to figure out shit while it works. And I guess my enthusiasm too as well, because I wanted to be a filmmaker and, in a sense, a director, a guy who writes the scripts too. And also I was putting too much on me as well. Like, I'll take some blame here as well. I was putting too much on me because I wanted to be a director, writer, and editor, because there was nobody else editing it for me. There's no one else, writing it for me, and I had to be the one directing it. So yeah. But really, I kind of wanted to be an actor, and that was really what I secretly wanted to be. But the problem was I couldn't chew gum and walk at the same time, meaning that I couldn't read a script out loud and speak it at the same, because it sounds like this and I talk like this, and it's hard for me to do, and people get angry. Like, well, then again, I'm thinking not people, but I'm just thinking some kind of oppression from school where people are like, oh, that's it's like, fucking learning disabilities and shit like that. Come on. But there was a point where I just had enough. And I think the breaking point for me was I just had to take a break, and there was like so much shit going on. I was dating this girl at the time, and honestly, that kind of, I don't want to say sideways. I don't know. It affected me. Let me put it that way. I don't want to make her sound like a bad guy, and I don't want to make me sound like a total asshole. But you know what? I did some asshole things, so let me put it that way. So let me put it this way. We went in too fast with the relationship, and, it kind of, the wheel fell off and kind of went into a ditch. So, and I was the asshole who basically, put a rag in the tank and just lit it. So, and just pulled a Walter White where he's just looking at the car after he crashed it. But then again, in my mind, that there was no. We're okay now. Let me put it that way. If you're watching this, we're cool now. We've been cool. So I don't know. Anyway, well, that did affect me too, but also the classes, and also my friends who didn't really respect my time and energy in doing this, because I had one friend who was just a lackadaisical bloodhound we were always smoking weed, and or he always wanted to do shit, and he was kind of like, and this is why I don't hang out with him anymore too, because he was very much like, oh, hang out with me, let's do this, and I just wanted to work on stories and stuff like that, and I was trying to get the school done to show people, hey, look what I can do. My final year, and I think it was 2015, maybe? Yeah, 15, I believe. Or maybe 14. I'm not sure what year I kind of just left. I left. I didn't drop out. I left. I walked. I was like, fuck you. I'm not telling you that I'm dropping out. I'm walking out. I'm just dropped my shit and walked out. Like, it was, yeah, that was it. I think it was 2015, I believe it was, or 16. I'm not sure what year it was, but it was it was kind of a rough year because I was at that point where I was like super fucking depressed and miserable. Just everything was not going smoothly. I was living at home in a cramped ass room. I was smoking so much weed. I was very depressed, and nobody was like really helping me get out of it too. I was like, shit, come on. I need some kind of help. But later on I got help, but from unlikely sources. So anyway, yeah, like the last years of those classes was I was taking 3 classes. I was taking, which honestly, because some of them were just so fucking repetitive and dumb. I was like, all right, fine. Nobody was guiding me. So like the first year I dropped, like the first year I kind of took a year off, and then I came back a semester. The first time I did, I was like, I have to take a semester off because I'm not feeling well and I'm not mentally there. And it was the truth. Like, I was taking classes, I was failing my math class, I was trying to, like, I gotta get that piece of paper. I had told the teacher that, and before I left, and this is the fucked up part too about Temple. Before I left, they were telling me that I had like a few more like credits to do before I can get my degree, and I was like, all right, cool, and I'm truthful about this too. They were like, okay, you just have these classes. The year I came back, they changed everything up. They had to put this guy here and they put this guy there. I think they were just straight up like making me go around in circles, and I was just so like wanting to pull my fucking face off. They basically told me that oh, well, you still have more, you have a lot more credits to take. You gotta take all these classes that mean nothing to the fucking curriculum that you're doing. You gotta take this class, more classes, or you sit down and you watch, you write papers and you watch people talk for hours on end, where some classes have to be 2 fucking to 3 hours long, and other classes, it seems like this too, funner classes have to be this short. Like, oh, it's 30 minutes long. It's like, why the fuck did, like, and I got fucking pissed with that, and right now I'm getting pissed. God damn it! And and then the final like straw that broke my back was the intensive writing course, the math class I took, and I'm trying to think what else it was. I think it was just those 2 classes because I think I dropped out on one of my other classes, but it was the intensive writing course, and I just was like. It was a class that was talking about, it was an intensive writing course, and the subject was World War II and only about the Holocaust. Only about the fucking Holocaust. Which, honestly, this is the class that almost turned me into an anti-Semite. And I'm dead serious about this. This class almost turned me into a fucking, anti-Semite, and I was that close to becoming one. I was like, oh my god, I gotta get out. Because, first of all, this lady was so stick up her ass. Like, I snuck out of the class, and she was talking about, well, if you're gonna leave the class, and she was directly talking about me, but basically, like, I was like, fuck you, I'm paying for this class. Oh, it was just blatantly just like, and it felt like, and I noticed this too with all the other classes beforehand too, like my race and gender and film class, my imaginary cities class, most of the classes I had, and this is something like, this is true. This is absolutely true. It felt like they were talking about the same thing. Like, all the teachers were female. All the teachers were, like, not all the teachers, but some of them were male. Some of them were male. But the teachers that were teaching, like, the classes that were important were female. And they were talking about racism. They were talking about sexism. They were talking about these things that really didn't fucking matter to, like, what does this have to do with filmmaking? And I noticed this, too, because one class in particular, we were watching The Purple Rose of Cairo, and there was a male substitute teacher, and he was talking about, how film back in that day, like, people went to the movie theaters a lot, and they used to spend the day there, and, watching movies, maybe the same movie over and over again, because, there was no, not just because there was no TV, but it was like an escape from, like, the dark, depressing reality that they were in, like, say the 30s, the Depression era, or like the 40s, was like something, like, shit just goes wrong most of the time, and nobody really wants to talk about. I wonder what time it, oh, please tell me I didn't, okay, good. People talk about the film industry so much, and it's like, oh, it's horrible. But no, movies do are escape, and I talked about that in my other video. Like, people, like, when shit got bad, people watched movies to kind of escape. Escapism is good, but some of these classes were like, indoctrination of hating yourself because of white, black is better, fucking evil white men who are sexist, it was the same rhetoric I heard, and especially in classes that didn't really need it, like imaginary cities didn't need it, and then I got to the Holocaust, excuse me, I call it the Holocaust class, but it was the intensive writing course, and the subject was on the Holocaust, and it was just like, it got redundant. It really got redundant watching these movies, and I just, like, my brain kind of broke, and I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not going to these classes anymore. And, even my math class, which was taught by an 82-year-old Indian man, and I'm sorry, but the math they teach nowadays is awful. And I was looking at it going, this is not what I was been taught. This is not what I've been, like, what I've been learned. And I was like, it seemed like they changed the rules. It's like, oh, no longer we're doing this as core math now. And it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is why people are fucking stupid now. Because you put so much fucking pressure on them that their brain just rots and they just want to fucking pass. You talk about, oh, if you study hard enough, you can get an A. I just want to C. I just want to fucking pass. And you wonder why people are failing. It's because we're putting so much pressure on society. It's like, I don't know. That's just me. I don't know anymore. But it got to that point. So that's why I left film school, because it was getting to a point where I just didn't want to be, I just gave up. I was like, this is not teaching me. And I kind of like was drifting along. So I'm now getting back on YouTube. I'm thinking about doing YouTube videos and stuff like that. And, kind of learning some truths and stuff like that. So I'm getting back on track. So yeah, and I left film school because I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Like, you're not teaching me what I want to fucking be taught. And, oh, that's the class I was taking. I was taking Japanese. And I have to say, though, yes, hard class, and that's a funny story for another day. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, love it, bye-bye. And also, if you're thinking about going to an art school, do not. Go to a community one, find classes that you can do this, or find an attractive friend. If you want to do nudes, go find an attractive friend who's willing to do it and pay them. Or, study art. YouTube has become a better film school than, say, Temple. And I hope it does take it over. So, that's all I got to say about that. So, film school in general, don't go, if you want to be a filmmaker, don't go to film school. Go study film on YouTube. Go watch movies. Go listen to commentary. Go watch movies go watch videos on movies. Go watch movies. Go watch older movies. Study them. Watch them repeatedly. Learn the terminology, yes, but save your money. Don't go to film school. Be like Kevin Smith. That's all I got to say about that. So take care, love it, bye-bye. And remember to stay awesome. And avoid film. Just, if you want to learn to be an artist, go do art. That's all I gotta say. Bye.